Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Breakthrough to Best Self with Holly and Lauren Aaliyah. And it's so
Aha.
good to be here. I'm working on it. So good to be here with you guys today. Um, for those of you who have not met us on our podcast, I am located in and near Atlanta, Georgia. I am a FARA advocate, food addiction recovery advocate, certified hypnotherapist, and I also am a sound and vibrational practitioner.
hmm
Lauren, you want to tell a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, but first I want to just say congratulations on saying Alia so well today.
Aaliyah.
Yeah, yeah, Lauren. But look, I'll go with Lauren Aaliyah if that makes sense. But yeah, thanks for trying, Halls. I'm in Durban, South Africa, you guys. On the other side of the world from Holly, I guess. Well, at least on the other side of the what is it, the Atlantic Ocean.
Equator?
Um, Maybe, yeah. Actually, I'm down in the south of Africa. Um, and so, yeah, I'm also a certified food addiction recovery advocate, FOREST certified with Holly. In fact, that's where Holly and I met. But we both have this passion for holistic wellness. I've also, for the last almost 10 years, worked as a keto coach and more recently as a neuro-linguistics programming practitioner, so NLP practitioner. So, yeah, between Holly and I, quite an eclectic mix of sort of wellness modalities that we're keen on, and probably a growing list of topics, which is really what this podcast is all about, right, Holly? Breakthrough to best self. Um, us, I guess, figuring out that there's just so many different aspects. You can go back, and if you haven't seen our very first kind of one or two video podcasts, we talk about holistic wellness and the different aspects that Holly and I are so keen on exploring, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual side of things.
Absolutely.
Today, Holly, we got an awesome sort of conversation starter, a topic that we want to talk about. And, of course, you're always welcome to join the conversation in the comments. We love to hear from you. So
We
please
do.
do engage with this video wherever you find it. Let us know if you like it, don't like it. And if you have any thoughts on the topic we're talking about. Halls, what are we chatting about today? You've got a conversation starter there. It's a good one.
You said you said it. Anyway, you mentioned the fact that you and I met in um, in our training, and kind of we just clicked, right? That connection.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
today we're going to talk about the power of connection in our experience with each other, in our experience in our local communities. What is it? Why is connection an important piece? What is it about connection that we
Mm.
feel, you and I have had this conversation, how does it connect to holistic wellness?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it starts with the fact that, I don't know, we're human, right? And I feel like just as human beings,
Yeah.
we are not meant to be alone. I don't know, all of history, but I do know that, from what I know of history from the beginning of time, as I guess human beings know time, we've lived in small groups, we've lived in tribes, we've lived in communities, we've always, we've been connected in some way. So it seems, right at the beginning of connection is just this innate, built in, not only desire, but like requirement to connect, would you say?
Need.
Like it's not just something we like, isn't it? It's something we need and thrive on, as kind of the way I
Absolutely.
see connection. It's what we need to survive as a human species, wouldn't you say?
I would, and I find it interesting that, let's say more recent human existence, that connection piece is less. And it's funny that it's less in some ways because we have the internet, we have the World Wide Web, we have technologies. and that connect us. You know, we talk about social media. Is that a way that we connect? These YouTube videos, is that a way that we connect? But then if you think about, we don't necessarily live in, 12 people living in a home. Some people maybe so. But, it's me and my partner and our cats, right? And let's say a hundred years ago, maybe a couple hundred years ago, in some places, it would have been entire families, entire generations that lived together. And so I don't know. In
That's
some ways,
interesting.
yeah.
That's
So
interesting. You say that, and I know you talk about that being hundreds of years ago. And as you say that, it's still very much a part of, I would say many of the cultures here in South Africa is still big on community. But I think you're right. I think there is this dwindling emphasis on connection and community, specifically around family connection. And it's not long ago, I would say it's not even a generation or two ago that it was not unusual. And by the way, this still happens in certain part of our communities.
yeah.
But you would have, you know, people getting married and staying at the parents of, one of the people, and then building their new family around the old family home. And maybe your brother's got a house on the same property and your sister's got a flat upstairs. And we still have many of our communities in South Africa that continue to, live together in this way, like on a family piece of land or in a family home, or they'll, maybe buy up a block in a suburb even, and have 3 or 4 dwellings where, maybe 3 brothers and their wives live and the parents live somewhere. But it is changing, and we are finding that there are a lot more people that are just having less and less and less connection. But let's talk about connection in various ways. So we're talking about the physical contact of people, just physically connected. In other words, we've just got larger family or social networks where we physically contact and spend time with each other. But tell me this, Hals, from just your own perspective, is being in the company, the physical company of someone, does it guarantee connection?
My mind is spinning as you're talking. I'm like, oh, but there's this aspect and there's there's all these aspects, because my family may be watching this today and I love you guys. Let me preface this. I'm not sure that I would want to live in that close proximity. But I'll get back to that. We'll get back to that piece. In that, I don't. I lost that train of thought. Lauren, remind me.
So here's the question, because this I guess, and of course people may have different ideas of this. My question is being physically connected with somebody, like living with them or being in the community or being in a group, so being in the company of people physically, does that equate automatically to connection? What is connection? Is it the same as company? Physical contact?
It is not. Well, you know what? I can't speak for everyone, because, for someone who, let's think about someone who maybe doesn't have that much of an opportunity to be around other people. Maybe their mobility is challenged, or they live in a very remote area of wherever they live. Then someone just physically being there can mean a whole lot to you. However, just because they're in the same room or the same building does not guarantee connection.
Right. And we hear this often, not just we who work in the holistic wellness space, but I guess even just, everyday lives, talking to friends, talking to family, we hear how people are in relationships but feel so disconnected, are in relationships and feel alone or lonely. And so the absence of connection has any number of consequences. There's the feelings of alone and loneliness. The absence of connection can lead to, a sense of hopelessness and depression. And so some people
That's
feel
affecting
all
the
of,
mental side of it.
right. And some people feel all of those things, even though they have people around them. So this connection that we're talking about, and we're talking about connection that promotes well-being. What connection
Absolutely.
is this that promotes wellness and promotes well-being in the way that certainly you and I have defined wellness and well-being, for the benefit of just our conversations? What does that connection look like, feel like, show up like? What is that well-being connection?
I like that you said look like and then you said feel like,
Mm-hmm.
because there are times where I can connect with a perfect stranger. Never met them before in my life. Stumble across them in my travels and have a conversation with them and feel connected.
Yeah.
There are some moments and that's a great feeling. It's like, I can feel it in my body. I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my gut. That was so nice. That conversation was great. And then just go on about my day. Sometimes it's a much, a longer extended conversation. For example, I work at the university and the students come in. Sometimes they're brand new, they're nervous, they're afraid, they don't know what to do, and they just come in looking for help or guidance, and I just have a conversation with them and help them feel calm. That's a different sort of connection. It's similar to I met someone on the street, but I have more exposure to this person. This I may talk with them on multiple occasions and help them through their process. And then there's, you and I, Lauren, I feel very connected to you. You and I have never met face to face. Believe it or
Well,
not, people,
physically,
we have
physically.
never
Yeah.
physically met. Well, right, we are face to face right now, aren't we? Um, Physically, we have never been in the same room. And
No.
yet, I feel extremely connected to you. You and I we've helped each other through tough times. We've laughed, we've cried, all of it.
Yeah.
And so that goes to say that I do not need to be in the same room with someone to connect with them.
Right. Yeah. And that's
So
been my experience. And I totally agree with that. So on the one hand, we've got people who are physically in each other's company, but not connected. And of course, you can also be totally connected with people you're physically with. That's not dismissing that at all.
sure.
And then we're also saying that you can be completely feel connected to a stranger. You can also feel completely connected to somebody on the other side of the world who you meet online, like we did, and feel this just this undeniable connection when you get with people. So what is that, Holly? What is it that connects people? What is it that makes us feel connected to some people more than others? What is that?
I'm about to go woo woo on you.
Tell me. Go, woo woo, friend.
Energy.
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 Hmm?
Our
Tell me more.
energy. Okay. Science proves that we each have a biofield. Okay. We can find the citations, we can put it in the comments, we will. But that's our energy. That's our energetic biofield. We all,
Mhm.
okay, I'm going into the sound now. We all have a frequency. The earth
Yeah.
is, I believe, 7.8 hertz. I think ours is very close to that. I'd have to look it up to get you the exact, but it's pretty close. There's an energy that we put out. Have you ever gone into a room and been like, oh, I don't know what it is, but there's something about that person. I feel a little guarded. There's an
Yeah.
energy that they're putting out. Or you go in,
Yes.
you meet someone for the first time and you feel like, wow, I really connected. And I felt that way with you, Lauren, from the beginning. I really
Hmm.
connected with this person. you know. There is an energy, there's an energetic flow, and as you can see, it doesn't have to be in the same room.
Yes.
I felt that energy from you being
Yeah.
on Zoom for the first few times. And so there's an energy that people put out that, you know, it may sound woo woo, but there is science that shows that that actually does exist. And what
Yeah.
about you?
And
How do
even,
you?
yeah, I totally agree. And I think even if maybe however we define it, because maybe some people will be comfortable and understand the concept of energy and agree with that. And maybe somebody will just call it, oh, you just get this certain vibe from people
Sure.
that you connect with, something that they're putting out. But we all have a sense of it, even if we don't know how to define it. We have that sense where it's like, oh, this is a person that I want to be in their company, and you get that just spidey sense that,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm not sure about this person. And it could be the way they behave, the way they speak, like the actual physical, literal expression of themselves that just doesn't gel with you or not. So there could be where it's purely energetic, and it's just this, what you're talking about, this kind of sixth sense we get, this intuitive
Yes.
feeling. And that would be, again, just this compatibility of the two biofields. But sometimes it's about the way the person behaves. So for me, another aspect, I totally agree. I totally agree on the aspect of energy and connection from a pure, I'm going to call it vibes point of view. The second one, I think, for me, when I think about how I connect with people, shared values sometimes can create connection, where you share, you realize that, okay, this person, and it's not just about, oh, we both enjoy the same hobbies. So when I talk about values, I'm talking about something a lot deeper. On Here's an interesting one. On paper, on paper, you and I should not feel connected, because our
Right?
audience will sit there and go, this doesn't make sense.
How
On
in
paper,
the
your
heck?
lifestyle and your lifestyle, you guys don't look, in fact, you should look like you should be enemies, disagreeing with each other for the most part, because that's what's happening in the world today. But we'll talk about that in another episode. But yet we have shared values. So we've connected on a deeper level, because there's some things that are my core values, that are your core values. Things like loyalty and justice and fairness and
Absolutely.
equality. And there's so many things that I'm like, we connect on, where it doesn't matter what your viewpoint is on certain things, or whether we've got the same sort of spiritual affiliation, or lack of affiliation. And we've been able to connect despite the fact that we have it so different. So when I talk about connection on values, it's a much deeper level. It's saying that as human beings, we value the same things, and we appreciate the same things as human beings. And that can certainly support connection. It can increase connection. I think about the fact that, and I've spoken about spirituality now. So I guess that leads into this issue of community. We see it, that we will be drawn and feel connected to people that we share sometimes spiritual connection with, and whether that's religious connection or non-religious connection, but a spiritual level. So we've spoken about physical connection and being there with
Yeah.
people. We've spoken about shared values, and we've spoken about energetic connection. But spiritual connection, Holly, tell me what your thoughts are on spiritual connection, and then I'll tell you mine.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, there's that the connection to what I refer to as source. And that's an important piece for me. I respect everybody's beliefs or no belief. Whatever it is for the individual is it's that's that value you talk about, Lauren, under it all. I respect you for you, whatever it is for you. And for me, it's connection to source is very important for me because it fills me. it fills me. And this is where I go to connection on all levels. Connection fills me. Unlike the processed foods that I used to try to consume to fill myself or to make myself feel better, unlike the drugs that I used to do to make myself feel better. Connection fills me in a way that nothing else ever has. From
Mm-hmm.
source, from friends, from people I just met on the street, students, it honestly, my cats, it really does not matter the type of connection, like where the source of the connection came from. It's that that connection fills me in a way that nothing else can, and my life has become so much better spiritually. That is all aspects, all directions of connection fill me in a spiritual way,
Right.
and that was what started me on my spiritual path. And I do have a spiritual community, um, which is very different. It's a very different community, but they're the people that I resonate with, and they resonate with me on those certain things. But then you and I, Lauren, we have different views spiritually, but and yet we connect on that too. So the
Yeah.
thing that I've taken away and learned from is that, and this has been an ongoing thing with you and other ways, it don't have to have the same. It doesn't have to be the same in order for us to connect. Because guess
Yeah.
what? It's very darn similar. We can call it what we want. But when it's all said and done, it's just like what you said, my friend. It is deeper than any label we could ever really put on it. If we
Mm-hmm.
were to
Mm-hmm.
remove the labels, I wonder how many of us would come together in that other part of connection that you and I are talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I just share so much of what you're saying. And again, it comes back to why we connect, because we share values around this, and that spirituality is one of our core values. Um, how, we choose to practice it. And you talk about source. Yeah, I talk about my creator as the source. And I guess I subscribe to what some would say is a very formal or institutionalized version of spirituality, and that's okay. I'm happy with people not agreeing with the way I choose to practice my own spirituality. But what I love is that when we talk about connection, the fact that you and I have found a way to connect um, on spiritual matters
That's right.
through respect. So I guess that's another aspect of
Yeah.
what drives connection. How do we create connection? Respect, mutual
Yes.
respect. And from a spiritual aspect, again, I love what you said, Holly, where you were like, all aspects of connection fill me spiritually. They fulfill you spiritually, because
Yes.
ultimately it's the spiritual fulfillment that makes us, feel well, however you feel that, and some people shy away from the word spiritual because they think it means religious. And we're not talking about religion when we talk about spirituality, even though I subscribe to formal religion myself. Um, so, that connection to yourself.
Oh
If
yeah.
you say, I can't, well, I'm not ready to talk about connecting to source or connecting to a higher power or connecting to a creator as I do. Let's talk about a spiritual connection that you get when you're connected to yourself, when you're connected to nature and the world around you.
Yeah.
There's connection that gives you fulfillment, that spiritual fulfillment you're talking about. I feel it when I'm out on a hike in nature. I feel the
100%.
connection to the earth. I feel the connection to birds and trees, and I feel at one. And of course, I will see that through a lens of my creator and creation. But somebody who doesn't have a spiritual belief in creator and creation will feel that same connection out in nature of feeling connected to the earth and feeling connected to the world and feeling connected to plants and animals and trees. We all share that. So it comes back to what we were saying at the top of this episode. That connection is what makes us human. And connection is not only something we desire and seek, but my view is that connection is something we need. We can't survive without connection. And so whether we're finding that connection through spiritual beliefs or communities or through our families or through marriages or through friendships or through social networks or through nature and through our connection to ourselves, that is it's all the connection that promotes wellness, because it makes us who we are. It makes us human.
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
This was awesome. I feel like we could discuss so many aspects of these, could be shows all on their own, but it's been so worthwhile just starting the conversation about connection, because something you said early on in the conversation today, Holly, you said we're living in a world where seemingly there's more connection opportunities than ever. The world has become so much smaller with technology and with social media platforms and Zoom chats and, Teams meetings and all the ways that we can connect. Yet more and more and more, we are seeing, certainly in the work that we do, so much more disconnection and loneliness and isolation. And so if through these conversations, certainly through, with Holly and I, our intention is to create more connection. If this, this podcast, these videos allow you, wherever you are in the world, an opportunity to think about how you can connect and to feel connected, then this is why we're doing what we do, to increase the conversation and the connection. So thank you for your time with us today. If you like the content that Holly and I are sharing and you want to be continue to be part of our conversation, please do subscribe to the channel, our YouTube channel, wherever you find this video. Subscribe to Breakthrough to Best Self YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit that subscribe bell so that you are notified when we put up a new video. Holds, any closing thoughts, closing words before we sign off for today?
Just want to reinforce what you said, Lauren. If somebody's watching this, they feel like there's not a lot of connection in their life, we're here. We're here, and you're there. You have you. And if this might be the first time you thought about connecting with yourself, it's okay. There's no time like the present. And how can I do that? I'm just putting my hands on my heart and put them up here. I love you. And you can just say that to yourself, and you can have connection in any moment, in any given time. And we're going to be here so you can come back and visit with us anytime you want to visit with us. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. We appreciate you so much, and we'll be back with some more.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for being with us. Take care.
Bye, y'all.